Hey guys, HDV here, and welcome back to another Pokemon Sun and Moon discussion video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at who is the best new flying type Pokemon in Sun and Moon across all of the new Pokemon released. Now, I have done a couple other videos in this series showcasing other types such as fire, water and grass, and many more, so if you are enjoying the series, then I do recommend you check those videos out. I would really appreciate it. But today, like I said, we're looking at the new flying type Pokemon in Sun and Moon. I won't be going over any legendaries or ultra beasts that may have the flying type because they are just stronger in general. I also won't be going over any old Pokemon that may appear in Alola that have the flying type because, you know, we're only concentrating on the new Pokemon in this video. So I will be going over the abilities, whether they have a dual typing, what they're strong and weak against, their stat totals and their move pools, just to try and create a better idea of who is the best new flying type Pokemon in Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. So with introductions out of the way, I really hope you enjoy the video and let's get started. Okay, so coming up first we have Toucannon, who is a dual typing of normal and flying with the abilities Keen Eye, Skill Link and Sheer Force. So some pretty nice abilities from the get-go. Keen Eye obviously prevents loss of accuracy from, you know, moves like Sand Attack and stuff like that. Skill Link, a very nice move because it basically means multi-strike moves always hit 5 times. So moves such as like Arm Thrust, Icicle Spear, Tail Slap, Rock Blast, you know, Bullet Seed, those kind of moves, they will always hit 5 times. So that's a very nice ability to have in the competitive scene because you know you're always going to, you know, get those 5 hits and you're going to be able to do the most amount of damage. And then the last ability this Pokemon gets is Sheer Force, which increases the power of moves that have beneficial secondary effects by 30% but removes those additional effects. So say you use like Thunderbolt or something. Thunderbolt obviously has a chance for paralysis. The chance of paralysis would go, but in return you'd get a 30% boost in power from that move. So it's a decent trade-off, to be honest, because obviously it's actually a very good trade-off because with moves that only have like a 10% chance to paralyze your opponent, that's not going to be happening all the time, whereas you're always going to be getting the 30% boost. So I think that's a very good trade-off for that ability. So that being said, Sheer Force is an incredible ability to have. Being a dual typing of normal and flying means that it is weak to electric, ice and rock. However, he is resistant to grass and bug and is also immune to ghost and ground. So, you know, pretty nice there. Unfortunately, though, he is neutral to fighting, which I never really get why these Pokemon are made normal and flying. As a bird Pokemon, it should be resistant to fighting, but obviously with the normal typing, it makes it neutral. Anyway, this Pokemon does have a stat total of 485 with HP of 80, 120 physical attack, 75 physical defense, 75 special attack, 75 special defense, and 60 speed. It obviously evolves from Trumbeak starting at level 28, so that's quite a low evolution for these bird Pokemon. That we usually see, because it obviously is the bird Pokemon of the early route of the early games. You know what you usually find, well, Pikipek is, you know, you usually find your Pidgeys and your stuff like your early bird Pokemon, basically, you know what I mean? It's basically just that of Sun and Moon. Anyway, this Pokemon does get some really nice moves though through level up, one of the main ones being Beak Blast. It's a physical flying type attack, so obviously nice stab move there for this Pokemon. Unfortunately, though, it is a 2-turn move, but that isn't actually that bad when you actually read the effect of this move, because basically it fires up its heats up its beak, and if you'll get hit with a physical attack whilst you're charging up your beak, so in the turn that you use the move, so say you use Beak Blast, and then obviously you're charging up, if your Pokemon if the other Pokemon hits you with a physical move such as, like, I don't know, like Tackle or something, then basically it results in that Pokemon getting a burn. So that's very good for like physical type Pokemon. So that's going to be a lot of mind games there when you have Toucannon in. Like, the opponent's going to be just thinking about whether you're going to be using that move or not, especially if they've got a physical type Pokemon in. Also gets Rock Blast and Bullet Seed, which obviously if you are running Skill Link, they're obviously very nice moves there, although Sheer Force is probably the better move just to have at the end of the day. Does get like Drill Peck, gets Roost for reliable recovery, gets Echoed Voice, gets Rock Smash, you know, moves like that. Through egg moves, it gets Boom Burst, gets Brave Bird, Tailwind as well, so some very nice moves there. Brave Bird obviously dealing recoil, but a very nice physically attacking move. The TMs that this Pokemon gets are, you know, they're relatively good. It gets Smackdown, gets Brick Break, Flame Charge to boost your speed up, gets Steel Wing, gets U-Turn as well for Switch Initiative, also gets Flash Cannon as well. But, you know, some pretty nice moves there. I like the Switch Initiative aspect, and Beat Blast, obviously, I think it is a unique move to this Pokemon's evolutionary line, but a very nice move to have to be dealing burns. Basically, you get if you're coming in against a physical attack, you're basically going to get a free Beat Blast off, because they're not going to touch you, really, are they? Because they don't want to get their Pokemon burned, unless it's obviously a fire type or something. But that is Toucannon. Like I say, a very good Pokemon. One of the better bird Pokemon that we've seen, obviously. we've seen like Pidgeot and Staraptor and stuff, and you know, they're pretty good Pokemon. Trumbeak is one of the better bird Pokemon in my opinion. But that is Trumbeak. Next we have Ori Correo, who is going to be quite difficult to cover because this Pokemon has 4 different stages. It has its Bailey style, its Pom-Pom style, its Paw style, and Sensu style. So I don't know if it's going to take a long time to cover or not, because they really all just have the same move pool and everything and the same stat total. It's just literally the typings that's different. So it probably won't take super long to cover these Pokemon. But anyway, we'll get into it. But first we have obviously the Bailey style, I don't know how you pronounce that, who is a dual typing of fire and flying with the ability Dancer. Dancer is a really nice ability because basically when your opponent uses the dancing type move, you basically copy it for free. So say your opponent uses Dragon Dance or something like that, you basically get a free Dragon Dance up. So that's obviously really clutch to have. Being a dual typing of fire and flying means that it is weak to water, electric, and 4 times weak to rock. However, it is resistant to fire, 4 times resistant to grass, resists fighting, immune to ground, 4 times resistant to bug, resists steel and fury as well. So quite a nice typing there, fire and flying. Obviously the 4 times resistant to rock isn't the best because you're going to be taking those 50% from stealth rocks and stuff like that. But it still resists quite a few things, and the immunity to ground is nice. Has a stat total of 476 with kind of mediocre stats across the board. Has 75 HP, 70 physical attack, 70 physical defense. Quite a nice 98 special attack, 70 special defense, and a 93 stat in speed. So quite a fast special attacking Pokemon, but the rest of its stats, like I said, are a bit mediocre. The moves that this Pokemon gets are things like Baton Pass, gets Feather Dance. Obviously going to get quite a few dancing moves. It is the dancing bird Pokemon. It also gets Air Cutter, gets Teeter Dance, gets Roost, gets Revelation Dance. Revelation Dance is a unique move to the Ori Correo Pokemon. Basically, it just deals damage with a different type depending on the style of Ori Correo. So the Bailey style, obviously, Revelation Dance obviously turns into a fire type move. Pom-Pom style, it turns into electric. Paw style turns into psychic. Sensu style turns into ghost. So that's kind of just like an extra bit of a stab move there. Because it is unfortunate with these Pokemon that that's kind of like the only stab move they get for their other typing. Obviously, they get stab moves for their flying type attacks, but none of these Pokemon get any other stab moves. So this Pokemon doesn't get like Flamethrower or Fire Blast, anything to help with the fire type moves, which is a bit annoying. It also can't learn any through TMs or anything. So I think they missed out on an opportunity to make these Pokemon a bit more like their other typings. Obviously, like I said, they get a lot of flying type attacks, but they don't really get any for their other typing. But it does get Tailwind and Pluck through egg moves. The TMs it learns are Roost, gets Aerial Ace, gets Steel Wing, Acrobatics, gets Swords Dance, Fly, and U-turn as well. So U-turn for Switch Initiative, which is nice. So, but that is the Bailey style. Like I said, 4 times weak to Stealth Rocks isn't the best thing. Won't be seeing this loads in a competitive team, I don't believe, because it's not really got anything going for it. So obviously when you usually see a 4 times weak to rocks, Stealth Rocks Pokemon such as Talonflame or Charizard, they usually have they're usually very beneficial to your team. Like obviously you've got your Talonflame with Gale Wings, Brave Bird and stuff like that, and then you've got your Charizard who's going to be like a Megazard X or Y. So they both have like big things for your team that are going to help you out. This Pokemon doesn't really have any like big thing like that to help you out. But like I say, that is the Bailey form. Next we have the Pom-Pom style, who is a dual typing of electric and flying, and like I say, has the same stat total, has the same ability of Dancer, has the same exact same move pool, learns the same moves, you know what I mean, gets U-turn, you know, Revelation Dance, Roost, everything like that. It's literally just the dual typing, which is different, and this, like I say, is electric and flying. So he is weak to ice and rock, so only 2 weaknesses there. However, he does resist grass, fighting, immune to ground, resistant to flying, bug, and steel as well. So obviously very nice trade-off there of the ratio of strengths and weaknesses. But like I say, I can't really say too much more about this Pom-Pom style. Like I say, it's just like the Bailey style. I can't really cover these 4 birds in too much detail because they are pretty similar. So yeah, that is the Pom-Pom style. Next up we have the Paw style, who is a dual typing of Psychic and Ghost. Again, has the same ability, move pool, you know, stat total, everything like that. You know, Revelation Dance, repeating myself now. This Pokemon is however weak to Electric, Ice, Rock, Ghost, and Dark. So 5 weaknesses there, not the best trade-off. Whereas he is only resistant to Psychic, Grass, 4 times resistant to Fighting, and then immune to Ground. They're obviously all immune to Ground thanks to the flying typing. But yeah, this is obviously the Psychic form. Quite a nice form. I quite like the design of this Pokemon. He looks like he's really having a nice time dancing. But that is the Paw style. The last style is the Sensu style, who is a dual typing of Ghost and Flying. What this Pokemon is strong and weak against are kind of across the board because it's got like a lot of immunities. It's weak to quite a few types. It's also resistant to quite a few types. It being Ghost and Flying is weak to Electric, Ice, Rock, Ghost, and Dark. So another 5 weaknesses there. However, it is immune to Normal, Fighting, and Ground thanks to the Ghost typing and the Flying typing. And then it is resistant to grass, poison, and 4 times resist bug as well. So quite a nice trade-off there. Obviously the 5 weaknesses isn't the best, but although it does get quite a nice couple of resistances, and 3 immunities is really cool. And like I say, this got the same stat total, move pool, everything that like the other ones, same ability, dancer, blah blah blah. You know, Ori Correo, different forms. I really like the fact that they do have the 4 different forms. It really is a good little, you know, little nice addition to these Pokemon. But that is the Ori Correo lineup. Last but not least, we have Minior, who is a dual typing of Rock and Flying, who I'm a big fan of. This is a very nice Pokemon. I obviously have covered this Pokemon in the Rock type video, yeah, I like how unique this Pokemon is. It does have the ability Shields Down, and basically what that does is it causes the Pokemon to change its appearance and stats depending on its remaining HP. So when the Pokemon's HP is over 50%, it has high defenses and is immune to status conditions, and that's when it's in its Meteor form. But when its HP falls below 50%, the outer shell breaks and the Pokemon has higher attack. So that's its core form. Obviously this Pokemon, being dual typing of Rock and Flying, means that it's weak to water, electric, ice, rock, and steel. So 5 weaknesses there. However, it does resist normal, fire, flying, bug, poison, and is immune to ground. Like I say, this is the Meteor form, so its defenses are going to be a lot higher. It has 60 HP, 60 physical attack, 100 physical defense, 60 special attack, 100 special defense, and 60 speed with a stat total of 440. It doesn't have any evolutions or anything. It's just a, you know, a unique Pokemon in itself. It gets some really nice moves though through level up. It does get Stealth Rock, which is cool. When you're in your Meteor form, you can set up rocks and everything because you can take a hit and everything. And then when you're in your Meteor form, you can start doing all that powerful damage. But it does get like Self Destruct, gets Takedown, gets Cosmic Power, Power Gem, Double Edge, Shell Smash. We'll get onto why Shell Smash is so good for this Pokemon later on, and then Explosion as well. Explosion obviously a better move than Self-Destruct because it has 50 more power. I don't know why you'd run Self-Destruct over Explosion, but it doesn't learn any Egg moves, but it does learn quite a few TM moves, which really help it out. It gets things such as Solar Beam, gets Earthquake, gets Psychic, gets Rock Tomb, gets Charge Beam, Acrobatics, Explosion against Rock Polish, gets Stone Edge, Gyro Ball, Bulldoze, Rock Slide, U-Turn, Dazzling Gleam, U-Turn, obviously for Switch Initiative, very, very nice. And that is the core form. Like I say, that's just basically the defensive form after you're over 50%. You know, basically when you're in this form, you want to be setting up your rocks, you want to be setting up with the Pokemon, you know, things like that. However, when your HP does fall below 50%, out comes the core form, whose stat total gets shot up to 500. Still the same typing, still the same ability, still the same what it's strong and weak against. However, its stat total, like I said, does go up to 500. Has 60 HP, 100 physical attack, 60 physical defense, 100 special attack, 60 special defense, and 120 speed. Gets the exact same moves, but if you can set up a Shell Smash with this Pokemon whilst it's in its core form, not its core form, its Meteor form, then you're going to be laughing, because if you obviously run White Herb on this thing as well, all your defenses go back to normal, but you're at +2 on everything, so you're attacking, your special attack and speed. So Minior can be really doing some damage in when you've done that. And then obviously it gets moves such as you know, your acrobatics, because obviously acrobatics will be nice. Stab Flying, you've lost your White Herb, so that'll be doing a lot of damage. You get Stone Edge, Earthquake. You know, this Pokemon can be run as a physical or special attacking Pokemon. Both has 100 in both stats there, so it's really whatever you want to go with your Minior. And yeah, big fan of Minior. I really do like this Pokemon. But that is everything for these Pokemon. There are only technically 3 new flying types, but obviously the Ori Correo has 4 forms, so whichever you want to say that with that. Who I think is the best, I'm going to go with Minior, just because of the fact that you can set up a Shell Smash White Herb with this thing and just like sweep a lot of teams. You know, it's a very fast, physically and specially attacking Pokemon. Has you know, it's got some alright resistances and weaknesses, kind of nice trade-off, and obviously immune to ground types as well. But you know, I think he's just about, like, I really like Toucannon as well. I really like the fact of Beat Blast and stuff burns the physical attacking Pokemon, but you know, I'm going to go with Minior. But obviously you may disagree with me, so if you do, please leave your suggestion in the comment section below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. But that is everything for this video, guys. So if you did enjoy it, please smash that like button below. I really appreciate it. Remember to subscribe if you are enjoying the content and the series. Remember, I do have a couple of these other discussion videos coming onto your screen in a second, so be sure to check them out if you have the time. That is everything from me, guys. So thanks again for watching. Have a glorious day, and peace.